Hello, fourth graders. All right. Wait till this opens all the way. There we go. All right. Today is Thursday the 12th. So we started our morning out with our morning movement and our story. All right. So in the green for math, we were working on profit today. And so we did not actually get, I'm going to move this over because we did not get to that section. Profit took us a while. And so, all right, so here we found profit. So with profit, profit has to do with how much a business makes. So we talked about a formula. We took our math notebooks and we opened to our page where we were working with the fixed expenses yesterday and the variable expenses, and we added to the bottom. And we said that the way that we find profit is we take total revenue, we subtract our total expenses, and that gives us our profit. So total revenue, this word right here, total revenue, this is your revenue is your income, how much money that you have coming in. So we talked about a business one of our third graders here at Fox Run has. She sells these cookie packs, and they come with all kinds of icing and all kinds of stuff in them. So here, pause the video and make sure you have this formula because I'm going to erase it and so I can write as I'm talking about what it is I'm talking about. All right, so she has this cookie business and she sells these packs of cookies. Okay, so it's a box of cookies and it's got cookies in it. It's got little packs of sprinkles. It's got these things of icing in it. Okay, she's got all this stuff and she sells this whole pack for $15. Okay, so everything, I bought one of these from her and I paid $15. Well, $15 is not how much money she gets to technically keep. Okay, this is just her revenue, the money that she's made. She has to take that revenue and she has to subtract to find out how much she actually made. She has to subtract her expenses. So some of the things that she bought, she had to buy the stuff to make the cookies. So all the cookie, including the ingredients, everything that includes. All right, so she had to buy all the ingredients and everything for the cookies. She had to buy the icing. She had to buy the box that it came in. She had to buy the bags that the things came in. She had to buy the sprinkles. So all of these things she had to pay for, and these were expenses. So we said, we just made a guess, and we said, oh, I guess that could be about maybe $10. Okay. So how much she charged me was 15. How much she paid for all of the things that she had to put in the box, we said would be about 10. So when you take your revenue, you subtract your expenses, okay? This equals your profit. So the profit is that actual money that you made, or sometimes you didn't make. Sometimes you can be negative. So here, profit is 15 minus the 10, this $5 that's left over. That's how much she actually made off of this cookie box that I bought. Okay, so you take your revenue, you subtract all your expenses, and then that's your profit. Now, sometimes we might have to do different things to find that. So the formula is total revenue total revenue minus total expenses equals profit. So sometimes, let's say we had $200 that we got, and this was our revenue. We're going to subtract our expenses. Well, sometimes we might not have the total expenses. We may have to go find it. So let's say we had an expense. There was a problem like this in our book, and I don't remember the exact numbers, but there was a boy and he was helping with garden work, and his uncle gave him $200. His uncle gave him $200. Oh goodness. Let me try this one more time. His uncle gave, I'm trying to make a dollar sign. Why is it making it so crazy? All right, we're not going to have a dollar sign because it's looking crazy. All right. So his uncle gave him $200, and that's how much he earned helping him do this garden work. Well, he had to buy some equipment to help to be able to do the work. So he had some expenses. So one of the things he had to buy, that thing is there. Oh, Lordy Lord. I want this off. There we go. All right. So one of the things he had to buy, let's say it cost $23.58. And then another thing he had to buy in order to do the job, let's say it costs $15.62. Okay. Well, in order to find out his profit, this is how much his uncle gave him, but then he had these things that he had to buy. So we have to add up the expenses to get the total expenses. So 8 plus 2 is 10. 6 and 6 is 12. Drop down that decimal. 5 plus 4 is 9. And then 2 and 1 is 3. So $39.20 was his expenses. Well, to find profit, P for profit, R for revenue, E for expense, we have to take this $200, subtract the expenses, and that total is what he actually made. So let's do this. 0 minus 0 is 0. 0 minus 2, I can't do that. So I'm going to go all the way down to my 2. And I'm going to regroup all this. 10 minus 2 is 8. Decimal drop. 9 and 9 is 0. 9 minus 3. And 1 minus nothing is 1. Okay. So his actual profit, even though he was given 200, he paid all this money. So we had to take out what he had to pay. So he actually made $160.80. Okay. So sometimes you have to do this multi-step where you have to do some things here first before you can get to that actual profit here. All right, so let me go back to the agenda. So we did some that page 652, 7 through 12, and we put our answers in our Monday through Friday math. And then for reading today, we were in Seesaw, and we were working on week 13 for reading. Also, don't forget for reading, this fluency check here, I put it on Monday and I had said it was due Friday. So make sure you remember there is 2 pages and you're just recording, and it's just a fluency check there. So make sure you read the directions on that. That's part of reading. All right, so where we left off, come on, my computer's been slow all day. Alrighty, so where we left off was down here on page 9. So we've been talking about, let me go back to the top. We've been talking about autobiography, biography. Today we got specifically into talking about point of view. So looking at the point of view, looking at those pronouns that are used can really help us identify whether this is a biography or an autobiography. So we read this story called Born to Dance, and it's on page 9 here. And we looked at those pronouns and we said that this is a first person point of view. And some of our evidence of that we saw is if you look at this first sentence right away, it says, "My mother says I was born to dance." And it certainly seems that way. So this is all about this person, and she's telling the story about how she ended up being a dancer. And so she's recalling all this stuff that had happened and how she got to where she was or where she is. And so those pronouns helped us to identify that. So then students had a question where they had 4 different sentences from the text. We know they're sentences from the text because they are italicized, they're slanted, and so that means they're coming straight from the text. And so it says, which one of these best shows the narrator speaking from a first person point of view? So again, thinking about those pronouns and thinking about each one of these, is this showing that this is first person? Okay, so looking for that evidence. Then there's 3 other places here that I'd like you to put evidence. So you could go back to the text, find a sentence that shows that this is first person. It says other evidence, so not something that's over here. And we stopped there, and students had lots of time to work on their research projects. So in activities, going down, going down, going down, going down, going down. Student biography, autobiography, research. These 20 pages, they had lots of time to work on this today. And so some of them have already been turning it in as they finish. But again, I talked to them about when they switch gears, like when they're talking about their person that they're researching, those pronouns need to reflect that. When they go and they switch and they're talking about themselves, again, those pronouns, they need to match. So you're not going to say, she does. If you're talking about yourself, you're not going to say, she likes to dance or she likes to play soccer. You're going to say, I like to dance and I like to play soccer and I was born in Houston. Just, whatever you're saying, make sure that pronoun matches that correct point of view. All right. Going back to the agenda. All right, so math, reading is here. That was just what I went over there. And then for writing, we were in Seesaw as well. Writing week 13. All right, so today, come on, computer, there you go. Come on. All right, so this whole 4 days that we've been working on this have looked very, very similar. And I told the kids, I'm like, this practice that we've been doing is really paying off. And I was like, I know you guys are tired of practicing these introductions, but oh my goodness, it is night and day from where we started. And we have been doing so much sharing and just really helping each other out that I'm just seeing huge, huge growth. So I mean, they all patted themselves on the back, round of applause, all of it. Like these introductions are looking so much better. So keep up the good work, keep practicing, and it's paying off. So each day we've been practicing where we've been writing a question, a funnel, and an anecdote, and talking about what is included in each of these. And then here, this last page, we picked one. And so today we were writing about our favorite teacher, and we're explaining why this teacher is so special to you. So I wrote for my question, if you could choose a favorite teacher, who would it be? My favorite teacher, or I'm sorry, let me put is. My favorite teacher is Miss Jarvis. Let me explain why she is so special to me. So here, you've got that question, you've got your central idea where you tell the reader right off the bat who that, whatever this topic is. This topic today was about favorite teacher. So you're responding to that. You're letting the reader know who that favorite teacher is. And then we practice today because we're still, there's a couple of us that are still not being super direct, where like we're either like we're trying to put too much, and it doesn't need to be too much. It just needs to be very simple, very direct. Ask your question, tell the reader who your favorite teacher is, and then this last sentence, I just take it from the prompt. It says, explain why this teacher is so special to you. So then I just write, let me explain why she's so special to me. And then that's leading you into what's coming next, which is the body. So here, we did that. I gave them a few minutes to get either their question down or their funnel down or their anecdote. And then the rest of the time, we spent sharing. So the sharing is really helping, I think, because it's helping us to kind of pinpoint those things that are missing, which is good because that's the whole second part of writing. Is not only do we need to be able to write ourselves, but we need to go back and to be able to look at writing and look at what things need to be corrected and fixed, whether it's capitalization or punctuation or whatever. We need to make sure that we're able to do that side of it as well. So we got both of that with that. And so then we drafted this, and there's one more piece that we're going to work on tomorrow with run-on sentences because that's still a problem. We've got to know when to stop those ideas. So we're going to work on that tomorrow. And then after that, we went to lunch and recess. We came back and we worked in science. So with science today, where's mine? Up here. All right, so let me edit this. All right, so going down. Today we were starting on page 7. We watched this movie or this video, and I'm sorry, it wasn't a video. It's like an interactive activity. And so let me get this started real quick. So this is going through how we can classify Earth's resources. So we click on the gifts from nature. It says every day you and your friends use materials to get you through your day. Some materials, such as air and water, keep you alive, and other materials, such as metals and plastics, make your life easier. So, some materials you use are resources that are found in nature, and other materials are made by people using natural resources. So, here, some of the natural resources are soil, fossil fuels, plants, and sunlight. And things that are made from natural resources, for example, a skateboard. Okay, so it has lots of different parts. Those different parts can be traced back to natural resources. Same thing with the paper bag. Paper bag, I can't go just look out in nature and find a paper bag. It's made from wood that came from a tree. The tree is a natural resource. The paper bag is not. Okay, that paper, it has to be made by man. All right, again, animals, water, minerals, and air. Those are all natural resources. Glass is something that's not natural. It's made from minerals. And plastic is not natural. It's made from oil. Okay, so the oil is a natural resource. All right, so this ties back into what we talked about yesterday. So it says, is there anything that you use or eat that isn't either a natural resource or made from a natural resource? Click next. Click next. All right, so here we click the hamburger bun, and it says the hamburger bun is made mostly of baking flour made from wheat. Wheat is a plant, and so are the lettuce and tomato. Plants need other natural resources to grow. Plants need air, water, sunlight, and soil to grow. So again, these are all natural resources. Fossil fuels. So In order to do that kind of stuff, like in order to turn that plant into that bun, we also have to use fossil fuels to make the bread from the flour. And then with the meat, we need the meat comes from a cow, which is a natural resource because the cow is an animal. And the animal also eats the plant and needs air and sunlight and things like that as well. All right, things like a digital music player. This case, we have to have fossil fuel in order to make it because it's made out of plastic. The wires, the copper rich or minerals, the circuit board, all these different things that we use come from these resources. So these are not natural, but they're made using those resources. Without natural resources, your life wouldn't be very comfortable. In fact, without natural resources, Earth would have no life at all. Alrighty, so we stopped there, and then we went to this activity on page 8. And on page 8, we looked at this chart here. We made it a little bit bigger so we could see it easily. This is an activity that usually we do with everybody, but since we're virtual, we're going to do it on Seesaw here. And it's just this timeline, and it's a visual representation of how long these things take to develop and grow. So things like water, air, wind, solar energy, geothermal energy, which is something that comes from the earth down in the ground. Um, these things are just present all the time. Okay, so there's not a time span. There's just so much, either there's so much of it or it's just continuous that we put it at 0 inches. We put those all on the same line here. They're just always present. Okay, they're always constant. However, things like plants, wheat, rice, those things take time. Even though they happen quickly, they do take a little bit of time to grow. So wheat about 4 months, rice about 6 months. So we're giving them a measurement to space them out, to have that visual representation to show how much time it takes. Beef, about a year, so we give it a foot. Soil, about a year, about a foot. Tree, 100 feet, takes about 100 years on average. And then our fossil fuels, this is where it gets crazy, is that our fossil fuels, think about how far this would be. We would have fossil fuels take about 2 to 5 million years to be replaced. And so with fossil fuels, if you were at that tree 100 feet away from the water, air, wind, and all that, if you were 100 feet away at that tree, okay, that's still pretty far, you would have to go 20,000 to 50,000 times even further to show the amount of time that fossil fuels take to develop, because these are why these are called non-renewable resources. They take so long, millions and millions and millions of years to develop. So we have the titles here of each of those things. So I put fossil fuels way down here at the bottom, and I just asked students to create some kind of timeline where they can show just how, from starting at the top with these things that are always constant to, wheat, and then we've got rice, just creating some kind of timeline where it's showing just how much difference these renewable resources are versus non-renewable. So something like, okay, so we have the rice, and then we had the cattle was a little bit further. The tree was a little bit, let me move this. The tree and soil were about 100 feet apart. So I don't know, something like this, some kind of timeline that just shows, and you could, get your marker and just showing how much space, all of this time that would have to pass to get to there. So we also did, let me go back here. We also took some notes in our notebook on the resources. So all of these things, all of these are resources. And then they're broken into two categories. Okay, so we have our renewable and we have our non-renewable. So renewable resources, these are things that can be replaced within our lifetime. So let's say I live to be 100 years, I can see plants being replaced, I can see animals being replaced. Oops. Things also in this category, soil, water, air, there's such an abundance of it. We say that it's renewable. Now, non-renewable, if these over here can be this word non right here, or this prefix non, means not. So these are not renewable within our lifetime. So can not be replaced within our lifetime. I'm just going to draw an arrow for that within our lifetime part. So this is talking about the way that I remember this. These are our fossil fuels. So coal, oil, natural gas. Non rhymes with con, C-O-N, and con stands for coal, oil, natural gas. Con, non. Okay, so coal, oil, natural gas is fossil fuels, and also minerals. Oh, ran out of space. All right, minerals. These things take millions of years to be formed and to develop, and you will not see those replaced within our lifetime. So I told everybody today there's 3 parts to this unit that I need the kids to understand. The first part is this idea that renewable resources can be replaced within your lifetime. The other part of that is that non-renewable resources cannot be replaced within your lifetime. So that's one idea that I need the kids to understand the difference between the two. The second thing is what kind of things are renewable, what kind of things are not renewable. Okay. And then the third part is all of these things are given to us by Earth, and we take them for granted. We use water bottles left and right. We tear down forests. We do all of this stuff that is going to have consequences. And so we have to conserve these resources. We have to protect them. We have to do things that are smart to where they're not going to get like oil, it's not going to just get used up. And then we have to wait millions and millions and millions of years before we have it again. And so the third part of this lesson is all about conservation, learning how to recycle, learning how to, just be mindful that, especially with these non-renewable resources, that these are not going to be around forever, and we need to look at other alternatives to energy and things like that, and that even our renewable resources, that if we use them up so quickly, quicker than we can be replacing them, that's also not going to be healthy for us. So those 3 ideas we talked about today, and then we'll dive in a lot deeper to each one. And then we had library today, so students kind of worked on their social studies on their own. So they had, in Seesaw there was a little reflection question about which ones took a short amount of time to be replaced and which ones took a longer time. So they had that. And then in social studies, there's a timeline here that the students can click on that talks about the Talon family. And then it's just like a timeline of their family. And then here they're working on their current day, so Thursday for their week 13 assignment that's in Google Classroom. And we, for intervention today, we continued reviewing about decimals. Tomorrow we take our decimal test, and we are actually going to move financial literacy. So yay, just decimals. So tomorrow we will continue talking about different saving options and financial institutions, and then during our independent work time, we will take our decimal test. So let me know if you have any questions. Please keep checking that sheet that has the missing assignments and the assignments that are not passing. That needs to be continued to work on. If you see your name on there, if you know you've turned something in and you still see your name on there, hang tight. Miss Snyder has 33 kids. If you multiply that by 5, that's how many things I have to check each week. Then I'm getting students turning things in from week 10, week 11, week 12. So it's a lot of grading, and then they have to be corrected. And then they turn that in, and then I have to grade it again. And sometimes it needs to be checked again, and sometimes they resubmit it, and then it needs to be checked again. So it's a lot of grading. So hang tight. I will catch up, I promise. But if you don't see your name removed right away, it's just because I haven't graded it yet. So if you know you've turned it in, thank you. If you have something on there that you know you haven't turned in and gone back and fixed, please go back and fix. And I promise I will look at it and get that corrected. Those things getting corrected are just shooting those grades sky high. So keep it up, and let's get all of our work in and make sure we're being responsible with our time and being a good student. So thank you. And again, let me know if you have questions. Bye, guys.